So one of the limitations of our little origami paper things is they just take up a lot more space. You can see there's only 3 of them here, taking up the exact same amount of space as 12 of these pucks. So this creates a little bit of a challenge for us, and that is on space. Right now, under our grow lights, we only have tomatoes, and generally in the past we have broccoli and peppers under there as well. However, a lot of times these grow pucks, we seem to have very stunted growth. And one of the big reasons we wanted to try out this origami paper method is because we won't have to transplant stuff quite as much. It gives it a little bit more room, and we're hoping we have a little bit more established plants. And I do notice that with our tomatoes this year. The tomatoes do seem to be doing a little bit better. So here's one thing I definitely have noticed this year. We ended up having 2 different soils that we were testing out with our seed starters, and one is performing a whole lot better than the other. So these don't look as good as they have here, but they've been kind of getting hardened off here. We've been moving out during the day and back in at night. So they're looking a little beat up from the wind and stuff as they're starting to harden off here. But if you look, just the leaves are not as dark green as they are on this one. They're not as full. The stems are a lot thicker on this variety here versus this one. And then, you know, we have 2 different dirts in these. And I've just been noticing quite a difference. So I'm hoping someone can help me out here. One thing that we've come up against is the limited space. Because those pots take up more space, our grow lights have filled up pretty quickly, and we really don't want to limit our plants on the amount of light that they get, because then they start getting really stringy, really reaching for the light. And I can get those trays for about $1.50 a piece. However, I'd like to utilize some of the natural light in the windowsills, and to get smaller trays that are half the size, I'm just looking for those long, narrow ones. They're like twice the price. They're like $5 at the local store. I've looked on Amazon. I've even seen them up to $9 for one of those things. $1.29 for these big, huge trays. And then the windowsill ones, those small ones, $5. Is anyone aware of a place I can get some of these trays at a cheaper price? Well, we'll get some of these logs all loaded up and split up today. So we're on a slight little incline. We're going to take advantage of that. We'll roll the logs in, and at the very end we'll just flip the log sideways just so stuff doesn't roll out when we pull out of here. So I've been trying to get a little bit more efficient with my splitting. As you notice, when I loaded up the truck, I tried to get all the rounds so I could just easily roll them out with a pickaroon, and then at the very end I just turned them the other way just to make it so it wasn't as easy for that stuff to roll out as I transported it. Granted, I'm only going across my yard here. The other thing too is you can see I got my splitter here right by my truck, and I used the tailgate there sort of as like a shelf. As I split that log right down the middle, I can set half of it there, then take the other chunk, split that up once again, turn right around, throw that stuff on the wood pile, then grab the log right off the bed of the truck and split that up without having to bend over, and then utilizing the pickaroon to roll those logs out right towards me. So we're going to plant a couple saplings today. We got 25 sugar maples that we're going to put in, and we got a bunch of red pine. We didn't really plan to get these red pines. I think we filled out the form a little wrong, ended up with those, but sugar maples is definitely something that we've been wanting to get in. We planted a bunch of them several years ago, lost a lot of them to the deer. We're going to do another attempt at it today. So we have all our sugar maple saplings sitting here. This will start gelling up as time goes on, get the roots nice and ready. The equipment we're using today, we're just using shovels. I wish I had like what they call like a divot bar or a planting bar. I don't think this shovel's going to be strong enough to get the job done. We might be able to get away with this. I'm trying to avoid the actual physical digging side of stuff and use a technique that I've seen the DNR use quite often, where you basically open things, slide your sapling in there, and then pinch it shut. A couple reasons why we're putting in sugar maples: hardwood tree, so it'll be great firewood one day, maple syrup one day, and they're a native tree here to Minnesota, and they're beautiful in the fall time. So what I'm doing, this shovel is a little floppy here. You can see it'll bend if I push on it. I'm just using this to break into the ground. I pull it back up, and then I got a little bit of a shorter shovel, but it's stiffer. Drive this in there. And then I'm just trying to make a little V in here. I'm pushing and pulling, open up the soil a little bit. Grab our sapling. We're going to want to make sure this tip is straight, doesn't have like a curve on it, like a J hook. I might have to open this up just a touch more. What I'm really trying to do is just prevent having to really dig in there. And then we got to get the tree in there enough so that the collar down here is resting. So I'll use my hands. And it's amazing when you watch some of these guys that do this stuff, like the DNR, where they just plant thousands of trees. They got a system going, but of course they got a planter bar going too. So then what I'll do is I'll dive this down there, I'll kind of pinch the bottom, and then I'll slide the top over, and then we'll smash it in with our foot. So as we've been planting some of these in the yard, we have to be a little careful on where we place some of these, just because we got lines going for the well, the septic. We don't want any of those root systems to try to tap into some of those water sources. We have a lot of ash trees, and the ash borer is definitely a problem that's spreading out from the city. So one thing I do want to do is diversify our trees a little bit as well. So I'm going to sprinkle a couple maples in here as well. It sure does help doing this stuff in the springtime when the soil's still pretty soft. Deer bone right there, yeah, and you see a little bit of deer fur too. Coyotes must have got at that one. Springtime, so much to do in so little time. It'd been nice to have a planting bar or a divot bar, but we managed to get things done today. I appreciate you guys coming hanging out with us today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.